Can we find other indication in the material culture for continuity during the 6th century BCE? Well, the new discoveries at Ramat Rachel have also proven the theory that characteristics of the well-known local pottery assemblages dating to the end of the Iron Age and to the Persian period exhibit continuity and therefore attest to the existence of an unbroken tradition of pottery production in Judah from the end of the 7th to the 5th and to the 4th centuries BCE. The problem of the archaeological research is that there is a time gap of 150 years between the well-known pottery assemblages from the late Iron Age, as discovered, for example, at Lachish level 2, the city of David Stratum 10, and other sites, and the typical pottery assemblages from the Persian period, as known, for example, in En-Gedi Stratum 4, Stratum 9 of Area G in the city of David, and in other sites. The new pottery assemblage from Ramat Rachel is one of the few known thus far that clearly fills the gap and thus support the assumption that the local traditions of pottery production continued throughout the 6th century BCE. This intermediate culture of the 6th century BCE was not identified until now and didn't get its typological and chronological definition because of its close similarity to the pottery assemblages that preceded and followed it. It was not identified also because of the basic assumption of scholars and archaeologists that as life ceased to exist in Judah during the exilic period in the 6th century, also pottery production, as well as any other expression of economy and administration, could not be developed in Judah during this period. This assumption caused archaeologists to identify this intermediate material culture of the 6th century BCE as representing the late Iron Age, late 7th, early 6th century BCE, and this is so even in areas where there is a scholarly consensus that life continued in Judah in the 6th century BCE. The newly discovered pottery assemblage from Ramat Rachel stands as the clear marker for this group of 6th century BCE pottery assemblage. Similar pottery assemblages can be found at a number of central sites, primarily in the Benjamin region, like Tel El Ful, Stratum 3b, several defined loci in Stratum 1 at Tel Enatzbe, as well as well-defined pottery assemblages at Beitin and El Jib. Based on these distinctions, we can now differentiate between different regions in Judah and their different date during the Babylonian period. It is clear that during the Babylonian period, a marked change took place in the characteristics of the settled area. The settlement center of gravity moved from Jerusalem to the close periphery, and a new pattern of settlement was created in which the core was depleted and the nearby periphery continued to exist almost unchanged. The Judahite population that continued to subsist in the northern Judean highlands as well as in the Benjamin region continued to preserve its material culture, and there lies the great difficulty posed to archaeological research in discerning this cultural and defining it. Many scholars have discerned the different fate of the Benjamin region and the archaeological reality in it after the destruction of Jerusalem. The biblical description regarding the fate of this region during the Babylonian campaign to Jerusalem and after the destruction of the city, together with excavation data of the main site explored in the Benjamin region and the data of the surveys conducted there, attest that the region was not destroyed together with Jerusalem. As a historical interpretation of this data, I already suggested that it was before the fall of Jerusalem, when the Babylonians had chosen Mitzpah as the alternative capital of the Babylonian province and appointed Gedaliah the son of Chikam as the first governor. The area to the south of Jerusalem and the Rephaim Valley in its center probably had the same fate as the Benjamin region. The Rephaim Valley, with its rich alluvial soil and moderately terraced slopes, had historically been one of the prosperous agricultural districts in the environs of Jerusalem, vital to the economy of the city. The mountain archaeological data from this area, underscored by the many agricultural installations and small farmsteads found in and around the valley, confirms that those periods during which the Rephaim Valley flourished agriculturally are the same periods during which there was construction at Ramat Rachel, from the late Iron Age to the Persian period, with no sign for destruction. We should connect the development of the Rephaim Basin with the emergence of Ramat Rachel as an administrative center in the region under Assyrian rule and with the organization of royal estates in the Kingdom of Judah during the late 8th and the 7th century BCE, probably after the period when Judah became an Assyrian vassal kingdom. The Rephaim Basin appears to have been developed as a royal estate. This explanation fits the centralized processing demonstrated by the concentration of wine presses not associated with village infrastructure, the process of organized decanting and shipping of the wine, and the function of Ramat Rachel in all the periods in question as an administrative center in the region. The administrative and economic nature of the Rephaim Valley, its connection to the administrative center at Ramat Rachel, and the archaeological evidence for its continuous use until the early Hellenistic period are clear indications of its existence under Babylonian rule as well, just like the Benjamin area to the north of Jerusalem. Now, before moving to check the aspects of the sharp decline in urban life, the destruction of many areas in the Kingdom of Judah, and many changes that occurred in the material culture, let's summarize what is the significance of the new finds and the new studies presented in the last minutes for our understanding of the historical reality of the 6th century BCE in Judah during this exilic period. This will be the subject of the next unit.